Happy Saturday, everybody. I normally do my Ask a Painter shows on Friday. We had a week full of events, so we are here today at a very special place. It is Saturday. It is 1 o'clock here in the afternoon. I'm sure it's just morning back in Minnesota, where I'm from. This is the Ask a Painter show, and I am Nick Slavik. I'm the host of this show. I'm also the proprietor of the Nick Slavik Painting and Restoration House, Painting and Restoration Company, and I am here with my best friend, and he happens to also be my interpreter, Ronnie Carlos. Ronnie?
So yeah, I'm Ronnie Carlos. I'm 36 years old, and I'm Brazilian. I have 18 experience in painting and decorating, and I work for the National Service for Industrial Apprenticeship here in Brazil. We call it a Senai.
So Senai is something that we're going to be talking about quite a bit here today. And Senai is a name of your national trade school.
National Trade School.
What does Senai look like? How many locations?
When we talk about just São Paulo, we're talking about 95
Just in
fixed,
São Paulo?
Just in São Paulo, 95 fixed units.
And these are big complexes.
Big complex.
This isn't a classroom.
Absolutely.
This is a compound.
That's it. That's like you were in Sois Paulista and Tatuapé. We're talking about 95 of those. Of course, there's some smaller and bigger ones, but 95 fixed ones. And then we have those mobile units that you said, those big trucks. Then we set the whole thing and then bring to the people that there's no access to fixed units.
So remind me, we're going to get into Senai because Senai has touched me in a very special way, and I definitely want to talk about it later. But I want to give you guys as much information as I can. We could talk forever about this, but first I want to basically describe what the hell I'm doing here, why I'm here, and what we did. So I am in Brazil, and this has been a week-long tour of gatherings, teachings, discussions, cultural exchanges, and the reason Ronnie is here is not only can he speak English, which he has been the most valuable tool I've ever had in my possession, especially in Brazil. He is an awesome guy. He understands painters. He's a painter himself, and he also speaks awesome English. He's an outgoing guy, which I am not, and he's also super funny. So whatever I say, it goes through him, and then it gets even better when it comes out. He's like he's a machine. You pass it through, and it gets refined on its way out. So the long-running joke we've had this week is I speak for 30 seconds, you speak for 8 minutes.
We call it contextualized material.
He says he's contextualizing. So yeah, but he's doing a good job because I see the people's faces after I talk, and I absolutely understand it. So okay, let's see if we can recount what we did. So it is Saturday now. I've been here for a week. I flew in, I believe it was last Friday, I left for the airport. I flew to Atlanta, and then I took an all-night flight. I think it was like a 9 or 10 hour flight to Sao Paulo. And then at the airport, you, Marcelo, and Etienne. Marcelo and Etienne are people who live in Lençóis Paulista. It's a town about 3.5 hours away where Ronnie lives as well.
At least, yeah.
And they have a school, a Senai school there, and Ronnie teaches there. He's a professor there. He does painting, decorative painting, industrial painting.
And plastering stuff as well.
He does amazing, marbling and all this other stuff.
I'm like a war machine. Yeah.
And Marcelo and his girlfriend Etienne got up at 3 or 4 in the morning to come get me from the airport. Marcelo is a welding instructor at Senai.
Welding instructor, yeah.
And this has been, if I could describe this week in any way, it's been a week of surprises. It's been one surprise after another, and I think this is the Brazilian way. I don't know. I shouldn't probably assume that all of Brazil does this, but basically everybody, you and everybody else, was like, Nick, just come hang out, and we're just going to take you around and do stuff, and it's going to be 10 surprises a day. And me being the person I am is like, you give me a time, you give me a place, you give me a context, what to wear, what to say, what to do, can I get there early to prepare? And you guys are like, just stop it, just stand here and
feel the atmosphere.
We'll drag you like this, and then we go. And it's invigorating for a guy like me to basically, it's like when you're jumping out of the plane with your parachute. It's like, now none of this is up to me, and you just have to trust that that everything is good. But these guys have been awesome. So again, everything started with a surprise.
As he loves that to collate data, scientific data, so that's good to be the
and I love schedules, and I love routines, and I love being early and prepared, as you know. So everything started with a surprise. Marcelo and Etienne, two people that probably have no business
That's it.
doing any of this. They shouldn't have any interest. They basically ruined their entire weekend to come get me at the airport, and they turned out to be the greatest people on earth.
Yeah, that's it.
And he showed me his classroom where he teaches young people how to weld. We spent many nights, 2 to 3 nights with them. We went to, maybe we won't get into that right away, but he is building a home from scratch with Etienne, and it is beautiful. He gave me a tour up here. It's a completely masonry built structure, which is very foreign to us. He has this monstrous handmade brick barbecue outside, right next to an in-ground pool in an open courtyard, and there's open windows from the kitchen, and it is the most tropical, beautiful place ever. Half done, maybe a little more than half done, and I promised to come back sometime when it was done come see it. So, so yes, we drove to Lençóis Paulista, which is probably at least 3.5 hours away, and we started. I kind of settled into the hotel there. And we basically gave me a part of a day to sort of, get into everything. What else do we do the first, we arrived there the first day. What did we do the first day? Do you remember?
Saturday was. And then we went to the restaurant and how you have your very first meal. You remember that? We were in the restaurant and you got the heat.
Golden.
Yeah. We were talking about the weather when you were in Minnesota, it was -3, and then you got that heat through your face. That's the time for the big deal in Brazil, so it was funny. That was
so
funny
immediately
situation.
we went to a restaurant, and the first thing they have there is a big thing of cachaça, and before you get in line for your food, you take a little shot of cachaça, and cachaça is probably the most popular liquor. Here it's made from sugar cane. It's probably like a rum, but it's got more heat and spice. So.
And there's some Brazilians say, translate that to me, so I'm going to explain that the whole thing has to be in English, so if
go ahead.
Just tell them that there's loads of them. Pessoal, é o seguinte, sei que tem muita gente querendo saber, mas é o programa dele, e aí assim, ele tá pegando a maioria das pessoas de fora lá. Depois, se eu puder ter oportunidade, eu falo tudo pra vocês, ó, vocês que estão assistindo aí do fundo do coração, Estênio, todos os meninos aí, Renato Sá, todo mundo. É que é incrível esse momento, realmente, a gente poder dividir com ele, né? E aí eu vou deixar ele falar, porque ele tá explicando, na verdade, toda a semana de tudo que aconteceu com ele até o dia de agora, beleza? Beijo no coração pra vocês, ó.
So Ronnie basically said, we've done this all week, where we're back and forth, we're talking, and I just asked him for this Ask a Painter thing. For the American sake, let's just try to do as much English as we can so people don't tune out. So, first day we went to the restaurant, and I got my first taste of all the foods that everybody told me to try. So we had a little bit of feijoada, which is awesome, which is basically...
It was on Sunday, yeah. It was hard work. It was Sunday or Saturday?
I can't remember.
No, you had on Saturday?
I had it basically every day.
We had a war preparation to get the feijoada on Sunday.
Absolutely.
Do you remember that?
Yes. So it was basically feijoada is kind of like rice and beans. It's a bean stew, and it's got some meat in it, and it's absolutely amazing. And it's kind of like in the South with rice and beans. You get some sort of meat with some fat in it. You stew it, and it becomes delicious. This stuff is different though.
Do you know the story of it?
No.
The feijoada?
No.
I know a bit, but it would be interesting. When all those, we say black people, okay, those Africans came to Brazil, all those boats, colonians, right? They came through, they had no food, but they had pieces of meat, so pork, all this kind of pieces. They threw all the things together with beans, and it became the feijoada. So that's the main story of that. So
it's
it became
very
so
traditional, very
so
historic.
it came from that. People say, that's the main part.
A through line through all this for anybody who knows me is I'm not interested in touristy kind of stuff. I basically told these guys, if you take me somewhere to eat, it better be homemade. It better be something traditional. It better be something you guys would eat. I don't want to go to these places which are fake. And same thing with people and places. I want the real thing, and if I can't get it from you guys, I'm not going to get it. So
that's what I told him. I said before you even come, we were talking about to show you no nice things, but we're talking about to show you stories.
Yep.
So true stories.
It's true.
People close. That's what he's got at most. That will be the main thing. I would say.
So we sort of settled in the first day. Then Sunday. What did we do Sunday? Do you remember?
We went to the school very early.
Yep.
Quite early. So you helped me out in the classroom.
Yep.
So I put you to work straight away. Do you remember that?
I got working right away.
I put him to work,
which I'm happy to do.
Yeah, we were with friends of mine too, and then I was helping my wife to get the stuff done about the feijoada because she was worried about that. That's a funny thing in Brazil. So we want to keep people together, close to us. And my wife said, "Oh, we have 3 kids, so almost him."
Yeah.
And I got the kids with me. We put my kids on the school running way, so doing that, and I asked him to help us in the school because we had to get the things set for the feijoada, and for the next Monday that will be the main work work day. So we did that, and I asked him for help. He said, "I'm ready for this."
Yeah, please put me. I can't stand here and look like, I stick out here like a sore thumb, evidently, even though, there's a lot of people who look exactly like me. But for some reason, I just scream American, and I don't want to attract attention. So if I work, I seem to blend in a little better. So, so was it Sunday night that we went to Everson's house for the barbecue?
That's it. Yeah.
So we did one of... It's hard to even say favorite experience because every time I had an experience here was my favorite, and then 3 hours later it would become my next favorite experience. And one of the best times I had, and I couldn't have planned this any better. I couldn't even have known to ask for this, but Everson, the person...
It wasn't in the plan.
No.
We set this up just in the beginning of the afternoon. I said, we do this, that, no, that's better, that's this, that. And then said, he asked me for plans. I said, there's no plan. Wait for that.
Which is insanely hard for me to operate under. So Everson is the director of Sinai Lenswise Ballista, and he is a master.
He's the main man.
He is the kindest guy on earth. He has a brain that is so sharp, and he cares about those young students so much.
And he's the kind of person that we used to say that there must be no heart for that.
Yeah.
But he's got a feeling that knowing people is a way better to get benefits of the whole company and the institution itself.
Yeah.
So he's a way that 1,000 years forward from us.
So amazingly, we went to his house, and he has a magical house. It's like what we think of
a dream place to live,
on Southern California or the Florida coast. It's this beautiful concrete building, and everybody here has some sort of outdoor barbecue. Churrasco. So churrasco is basically my favorite thing on earth. It's Brazilian barbecue. And it's
genuine.
And it's monstrous hunks of meat, chicken hearts, things, and it's simple. It's just lots of meat and lots of salt and people knowing what they're doing, cooking over wood, and it's amazing. So what I've seen now is they have these amazing like indoor-outdoor barbecues, but like real wood pits to cook food in their houses, and a lot of these spill out into open courtyards with beautiful walls and landscaping, and they're all open.
They're all open,
It's free
the
air.
weather is absolutely amazing in Brazil, most of the time.
So 76 every day, and breezy, and the doors on his house are open, the back courtyard is open, and this breeze flows through, and you're eating this. So Everson kind of hosted the party. He did some cooking. Daniel, is another big shot at Let's
He's a big shot, but he's a great cooker. Absolutely amazing cooker.
The first thing everybody said is all these people from this trade school showed up, and everybody was like, this guy's the master. That's it. And he's just like, he knows what he's doing, and that is absolutely true. And it's everything that you thought it would be, and it was just an amazing night. Everybody had families there. I got to meet everybody. I got introduced to Truco, Brazilian card game. I've discovered that I'm a master at it.
That's it. And actually, the main meaning of that and that meeting was about to get people close together, to share our stories, and we got it. That was the main feeling for that. So to get people together.
Daryl Bauer, jak se máš. That's how we say how are you in Czechoslovakia.
Jak se máš. Jak se máš.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So Ronnie's
Dobře, jak se máš. Dobře. I know that.
Ronnie,
when I was in Ireland.
Ronnie is a world traveler. So he used to work in Ireland. Right?
Ireland, yeah.
And then
I knew people from all over the world.
So Ronnie's been all over the world doing this sort of thing. He is much more worldly than I am. This is my first trip to South America.
Jak se máš. That's amazing. Yeah. I remember that whole story's coming through.
So that night with the barbecue, I thought, well, rest of the week goes downhill from here. How's this going? This is it. I
didn't realize what was going on from now on.
And we didn't even do anything formal yet. Like, I had just flown in, and all we're doing is walking around eating barbecue and feijoada.
That's it, yeah.
And just meeting people and doing fun stuff. And then Monday was the first day where I actually had to do some real work.
Really?
And so what did we? Okay, so
Monday morning.
Yep, we got some things set up Monday morning, right?
We were rushing away. It was crazy in the morning because we had to do loads of things. Not because we didn't have a program or chronogram for that, but we had only one Monday morning to set up the stuff that would be allowed the things to do. So we got Greco, we got Souvenir, and
we should say Greco from my home. big paint sprayer manufacturer. They have the Brazilian arm and the South American arm down here.
That's it.
That wanted to do some airless demonstrations. The airless tools are available, but they're very difficult for painters to get down here. So it's really a novelty for painters to have a big airless sprayer down here, and a lot of people haven't been introduced to it yet. So there's spray demonstrations. Yes.
So Renato Sá, remember, he's about 100 stores in Brazil about painting and spray.
Absolutely.
He started from nothing. He's telling something very special too. I would like to say that. He's selling,
absolutely. Yeah.
Renato Sá.
We gotta go. Oops, sorry. Yeah, there he is.
So I would like to say just.
One of the best people I met while I was here.
Yeah, Renato Sá is that high. He's like a giant man. So, Renato, a few words in português.
No, go ahead. No, please, go ahead.
So, Renato, obrigado, cara. Obrigado pela sua confiança, viu? Você, ó, eu brinco assim pra você, você tá aqui, ó, no nosso coração. Fiquei muito feliz de conhecer você, principalmente pela questão da parceria e de você acreditar nesse sonho do profissional brasileiro. Agradecer novamente aí quem está assistindo, o Senai, a Graco, o grupo GADEP principalmente, que foi de onde nasceu isso daqui, tá? Isso daqui, gente, é só o começo, tá bom? Muito obrigado do fundo do coração. Bom, o show é todo em inglês, né? Mas de vez em quando ele me deixa falar um pouquinho, ó, pra vocês aqui, ó. Isso é só o começo. That's it.
Renato, muy obrigado. Everything. I mean, what do you even say? Just please understand. Thank you.
Yeah.
It's amazing. So.
É isso aí, Renato. Oh. Let's go.
Okay, so we
morning.
got ready for some airless demonstrations. I brought my painting clothes.
That's it.
And people wanted me to do some spray demonstrations, explain how I use it. We did that. I brought a bunch of my tools. Now that I'm here and now that my tools are dispersed, I can say that I smuggled in about $600 worth of American tools, and I distributed them to my favorite people here. And all of my favorite things.
He didn't say that to me.
All of my favorite things are now in Brazil, and I'm waiting to hear what my peers, the professional painters who are most like me in Brazil, think about my tools. I'm hoping they aren't like, oh man, I thought this American stuff was supposed to be good.
You have no idea what it means for us.
So I'm hoping to get feedback on that stuff. So yes, I think I can safely say that now. I probably won't go to Brazilian jail, but they're out and about. And I can't wait to hear back. And so we showed some American tools. We did some spraying. We talked in depth about paint. And then we had a short little break around dinner time. And then we had our first lecture.
Yeah. Actually, between the afternoon, you got those all warm students getting through you, talking about that. That's very important to remember about that. So because they were expecting so much, even before the lecture. So all those people together, and we call it ETEC. It's a technical school too, but it belongs straight to the government. So it's free. You have to do like a approve man, like doing all those things to get this through. And they were there in the afternoon, so they love it. That it's important for you to say, but I didn't even tell them at that time. So was amazing.
I probably should say that right now, Sinai is. I am involved with some groups in Minnesota where we're trying to get. Secondary education, technical schools. We have them all, but we feel like we need either more or better or improved or different, something like that. I'm on a couple committees that is trying to do that in my local area. The PDCA, the Painting and Decorating Contractors of America, especially for bringing me this show and sponsoring all of this. They are in depth with creating standards and then partnering with technical schools, hopefully in the next bunch of years here, so that we can train a bunch of painters. And in America, we sort of assume that we're the best at everything. It's just sort of, music, TV,
that you just grow
movies.
up with this kind of feeling.
Everything is made for us, so we always assume like, oh, of course, we have a very myopic way of seeing the world where we only think of ourselves. I come down here to Sinai and my brain was just blown. Whatever
because you can touch it, like it's here, so it's impossible
amazing.
Not to be here.
And it's not just like they're good people. Technically, you people are so more advanced with these schools, and the people are so. It's to me like technical school is sort of a lifeless thing. It's like we're going to teach you science, and you're going to make sure you do science, and then you're going to leave here and do more science. And what I got was that you guys have a human touch.
Yeah, and I have a funny feeling about that because we really talk about you have everything, but at the same time it could be nothing because there's so many things available for you.
Yeah.
So many huge structures that you could get through and make the things hugely. I was talking about the Olympics, Winter Olympics.
Yeah.
So you're huge about everything. And then we talk about professional painter. There is no training. There is no specialized training for schools like long time term. it is scary even for me too. Yeah.
So which I was really interested, and this whole trip was under the guise of Nick's coming and he's going to tell all about America and all about American painting, and for me that was like a sneaky little way to get here, and then gather all the information from the Brazilians to bring back, because I'm very interested in this stuff. So the painting and the stuff was just sort of like my tool to pry the door open to get at your information. It was kind of a sneaky diplomatic mission. Yeah. So
I used to tell to the students in the lecture that you brought a barrel of knowledge and then you took a chip of knowledge.
It was. I feel at the end of this, it was very. If this was a trade deal, you guys got screwed.
Yeah.
So I took so much more than I gave you guys out of this thing. So it's been amazing. So we had. I should say quick before we move on, since we're talking about Sinai. Not only is this place beautiful, clean, technically advanced, the people love it. There are so many young women, young men, everybody involved with this. They're all happy. They're all good. The government's helping out a little bit. Sinai is doing a lot of good work.
They even get paid for that.
It's amazing. It's amazing.
Some of them, yeah.
And what really surprised me, like if that wasn't enough, you guys are building multi-million-dollar semi-trailers that act as technology classrooms to take to people, teach them.
That's it. There was one of the nanotechnologies. Yeah. We spent about $3 million on that to get.
I got to tour everything from the second they were delivered, in construction, almost finished, and yes, I saw a welding trailer where they had 8 or 10 welding booths with full safety things to pull the fumes, welding tables, big LED TVs, classroom setups, whiteboards, and it's like an RV where the sides move out.
That's it.
So yes, they have like like welding, but they have nanotechnology. You guys are taking nanotechnology trailers to people in the countryside.
That's exactly the point. That's the point, Nick.
It's amazing.
So it's a feeling that we have. So the young people is the key of our society.
Yeah.
So that's why they work so hard because of it. So it's a huge amount of energy put in on that to make the things work. We're talking about just São Paulo, right?
Yeah.
So São Paulo is the economic heart of Brazil. Everybody knows that. So that all the big engine is working here, but we kind of a model to the whole country. But there's many places like south part of Brazil and Santa Catarina too.
Yep.
They have huge technologies. But we're talking about just São Paulo. In nationwide, we're talking about almost 20,000 professionals involved in Sinai. I don't know actually.
People involved actually working with and in Sinai.
That's it.
That's amazing. How many students do you think, if you had to put a number on it?
Oh my goodness, that would be difficult. But I'm talking about hundreds of thousands a year.
Hundreds of thousands a year.
A year, yeah.
And I should say, you guys also teach painters.
I might be wrong.
Well, that's okay. Whatever you say is going to be right.
That's going to be right. But
and you're representing the entire country of Brazil right now.
Yeah, that's
so
crazy.
Whatever you say, we're all going to assume that.
I remember that I read in some place that Brazil has formed professionals, about 55 million people in Brazil, since the very first beginning of everything.
Yep.
So we're talking about 76 years of history.
So 76 years Sinai's
been operating. And you say a thing that's very important to say now. I've read in a picture of his name is Roberto Simons, one of the main men who created Sinai in 1940 something. He said one of the main reasons for Sinai to be here is to make people create a human being before the professional. Because when we see human being side, as do we use like decent human beings, you see the connection. Oh, it makes me scary. Because we say the main point of Sinai, the fundamental thing about Sinai, is to create human beings before professionals. It means the professional become a consequence. It's so deep because that's what I bring to my classrooms. Do you know what I mean?
Yep.
So the professional, it's obligated. I must understand about the process itself, surface preparation, whatever it would be. So when I taught people about those feelings, heart, it's an amazing feeling. You felt that by the very, very deep part of your soul.
As most people know, I'm not very outgoing. It would seem that way because I do this.
I found him.
But I remember that. Remember that it's usually just me and my camera. So, to be in a country where you don't speak the language, and you don't know the people and you don't know the culture, to have somebody like Ronnie here who is outgoing and happy and knows painting is a great thing. And between one of these classes, Donnie. Yeah, Donnie is a painting contractor and an artist in Minneapolis, a good friend of mine.
So he got the point. Create a human being before the professional.
We're on the same
That's
page
for you,
like
my
that.
friend.
Yeah.
That's for you.
Donnie and
we
I
must be in charge someday,
like
my
that
friend.
on that. So on one of the days, I sat underneath a mahogany tree, a real mahogany tree.
Right.
I have mahogany doors on my house.
Right.
I've never seen a real mahogany tree, and I love that sort of thing. So to see a real I sat under this beautiful mahogany tree. You guys had a pond with koi in it, fish there, and a group of like 6 or 7 students came up, and we had a cultural exchange for 45 minutes.
Wow.
And we all exchanged phone numbers, and we've been texting and sending pictures over the last week. And they're just super young, super happy people. And you can
motivated.
tell.
Motivated.
And they're motivated
For the future.
And the greatest thing is if you could design a perfect person for Sinai, a student, they would be happy and they would be curious. And these people had that in abundance there, which was absolutely amazing. So,
So we went to the lecture.
we got to the lecture. So, how do you even describe what happened? So it's a big lecture hall, and they actually have a stage, and there's rows and rows of this beautiful seating.
I'm gonna tell a thing. Maybe
visual.
he's going to be upset. Have you ever seen Nick Slavik cry? I saw that. I saw that. You got a feeling that he had. He made me one requirement, and I did that. So, and then he didn't expect the people's feeling. Is that Ronnie? Explain that. It would be better for me to understand. It's about the whole thing, because the lecture was about that. Was about the human connection. You were just about to say your professional things, and then you asked me something. You see how the things works without plan, not much plan. We're not saying that plan is no good. Plan is amazing, but when we get the plan with the human touch, with the human feeling, you got the result, the scientific data, as you said.
I'm a man of as much science as I can muster. So I had to muster up all the strength I could to ask another human for something,
right,
especially in front of a crowd. And I asked you that I would do a very sneaky little live video where I was going to be on the stage. The program was going to be started. Souvenir, the paint company who is responsible for me here, and Felipe, my handler, one of the most amazing humans ever. We spent the entire week with him, and everybody was introduced. The thanks and hellos and everything were done, and the stage was set. You and I were on the stage, and I basically said, I'm going to take a sneaky live video where it's just going to be you and me.
Yeah.
And it's like, hey, here we are in Brazil, and I got something really special to show you. And I was going to turn it around and have everybody be like, hey, like one of that. And what happened?
You know, those misses, how do you
exactly.
like those
it's like
things?
All the princesses, the princesses. Yeah. And what happened?
Would be better for you to explain, but I will. And then I asked. I didn't tell him. I didn't tell him, but I said to Brazilian, I said, let's get the best feeling that Brazilian have to him, to show ourselves who we are, not the kind of people that we would like to be. And then, when he turned it around with the camera, the people didn't say like that, said, wow! And then this guy clapping around, and then he captured that energy. It looked like something came through his body. And then he said there was a smoke on the way. So
I said something must have been smoking in the room there, because there was a little smoke in my eyes.
But the feeling that he had was such an amazing feeling. That Brazilian feeling that was such an amazing,
the volume and the energy rattled my ears, and it was something that I didn't expect. And especially for me, for somebody who doesn't ask for things from people a lot, to have that happen is truly amazing. And that set the stage for the entire week. What do we have, 150 people?
At least. At least. And then they started to scream. And then when they saw the Nick Slavik's face, they put it in full power. Said, yeah, wow!
Yeah, there was almost like
and
a second wave.
Crying, and said, with the claps, I can translate that. It said, thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you for everything, thank you for everything. And the claps. It's such an amazing feeling. Amazing.
It was so surreal because
still today I got my hair like happy.
they made shirts with a Brazilian flag on it and my name on it, and they handed them to people in the door, and everybody was like, "Oh yeah, this is going right on."
That's it.
So
a
crowd of people is screaming at you, and they're all wearing a shirt with your name on it. It is the most surreal thing.
The power
I've
of our
ever
flag
experienced.
and the feeling that we had for hope. that's the main feeling we have now. I could translate in English to Portuguese.
But it was amazing. So basically, the theme of this week is Nick's going to be dragged around, and he's going to tell us about his life story, and we're going to talk about painting in the United States, painting there, and I created this slideshow with some videos and some things to show everybody, and I would speak, and then you would talk to the Brazilian people, and then we would have preguntas,
That's
questions,
questions.
and then we would, there's Steve.
That's it, Steve. I told you that would be a barrier break and an ocean division. Division, not division. I keep missing some words, so get used to it.
And Steve, be prepared. We started talks about the National Expo. We were discussing government and visa logistics today too. So we're going to see what we can do, because these guys have been so kind to me here. I'm seeing if maybe we can't get some people over to experience our painters gathering. And speaking of painters gathering, you have something called Tintas, which is the painters fair. How many people are at your painters fair, Ronnie?
At least we had the smallest fair ever, right? We got about 2,000. No, actually, sorry about that. Sorry about that. We had a big meeting about CT Vesp, was the artist, and was the very few.
Yep.
It wasn't fair, but it wasn't a painters meeting. Was the last one. We got 2,000. And we 2,000. São Paulo. We're talking about São Paulo. Few of those they came from another states, but we're talking about São Paulo. We never had actually a nationwide Brazilian paint meeting, right? Just about São Paulo.
Yep.
Very few of them came over from other states.
So what's interesting is that if that's not enough, you have something called FECON, which is construction fair, which is a whole bunch of painters plus whatever else. How many people are at a FECON?
I don't remember the name, the number actually, but it told me about 13,000 all over the weekdays. At least we're talking about 15,000. Sure, 100% sure of it. At least
a festival of tradespeople where everybody loves what they do. They interact with each other. 15,000 tradespeople.
At least during those 5 days.
It's amazing. It's a
4 days actually.
You guys are more enthusiastic and you're more connected than us.
Oh, my
our
goodness,
biggest
amazing.
gathering of painters might be 500 people.
Oh my goodness.
And our painters chat rooms has
I
16,000.
would say it's a regional meeting.
Yeah.
All those nights. Bertioga.
And one of and we'll get to the GDEP. We'll explain that. We'll explain the Moderachao, the moderators.
Moderadores.
Yes. Okay. So we'll explain.
Keep learning.
We'll explain the importance of all that stuff later. But in the United States, we have some painters chat rooms with 16 or 17,000 people. You guys have hundreds of thousands of painters connected on.
That's it. Yeah.
And many groups like that. There's
Many
not
groups.
just one.
And actually, we're talking about when we talk the GDEP group, right? We're talking about there's people from companies, there's people from painters themselves,
Yep.
architects, some engineers. All of those, they are interested in painting and decorating trade now.
Yeah.
It's something that was so divided, split up from all of your histories. We get the people together now. Sometimes they don't talk too much, but they're watching us all the time. That's the main thing. Do you know what I mean?
Yep.
So we are together by one way or another.
So
let's go to our schedule.
yes, lecture. Let's get back on there. Lecture was done, and we must have went out that night and done something. Yes? No?
Yeah, we did. We went to a kind of pub. Remember?
Yep.
They took you to that. Yeah, was
among the
the up the hill. Like remember that?
Yeah. So we had an absolute blast there. Anything major we forgot about Monday? The first big day of that. Tuesday we actually went to Sinai
Tatuapé.
Tatuapé, yes.
Tatuapé. You say Tatuapé. It's Tatuapé.
Listen, we both have our accents, right? So yes, we went to another Sinai campus.
Oh, I think Tuesday. Sorry, Tuesday was the hardest day for us. Like when we talk about a long wait time hours.
And when we say these days, I had to check in with my business every once in a while, so I was up fairly early most of these days. I think Monday was my 4 a.m. day where I had to sort of still try to keep up with some business, do some estimates. Tuesday, I think it was 6. But basically, the days from about 8 a.m. till about 2 a.m, where every day there was stuff, there were surprises, there was a constant thing and interactions, and yeah.
Actually, no. Felipe was the main man for us.
Yeah,
because
absolutely.
it was by the evening on the way back to the hotel, we were like zombies, like that, and he was driving through for us to bring us here safe.
Yep.
I was making jokes with him about that, but he was like a superhuman being at that day. So we started. We traveled through the countryside to São Paulo, right? From Lençóis Paulista to São Paulo.
We went 3.5 hours. Yeah.
We went straight through Senai Tatuapé.
Yep.
And then we
that's,
started
and that's
to,
one of the main Sinai campuses, right?
That's it,
like
yeah.
I saw them building miniature masonry houses from start to finish. All the construction trades.
Is the main school about São Paulo. Is the center of construction and building industry is Senai Lençóis Paulista.
And they
Tatuapé.
And they have a painter's classroom there. The instructor was such a nice guy.
Yeah.
He's an amazing person. Runs his own painting company.
Newton, yeah.
Yes, and he has a classroom that's probably, no exaggeration, 40 feet by 40 feet by 30 feet. Beautiful rows. He teaches decorative stuff. He teaches regular painting, tools, equipment, everything else. Absolutely amazing and so professional. And to see all these happy young people there, like learning. I walked into a classroom where they had a whole bunch of walls made out of masonry, and the students were practicing after the bricks go up on a house.
Oh, outside, yeah.
And you guys have you cast cement on there, and we would call it like a scratch coat, and it's basically rough, and it's made so that stucco or concrete can adhere to it. I walked in there, and there was a young lady casting for the first time. They mix up mortar and water to where it's real slurry. They scoop out the sand, put it on a hawk, I think it's called.
Hawk, kind of hawk.
And then they take a trowel and they cast it like that. And I'm watching her do this. The instructor comes along the corner and says, "First day."
First day, yeah.
Her first day. It's amazing. And she's just this young lady learning how to do masonry in this school along with a whole bunch of other people. So it's absolutely amazing.
Yeah,
and,
carpentry, everything. That school it's so amazing. We call it the epicenter of earthquake.
Yeah. And we did.
And then we went to the afternoon. So the same as Lençóis Paulista, we had different kind of people too. Those Africans too, that they belong to the government. You could say about that too.
Yeah. So we had Greco Brazil
demonstration.
Yep. And they brought along. They have texture sprayers. They have airless sprayers. The handheld sprayers, and they would set up their tent and their spray areas, and we would all. Fernando.
So make your profession as a truth.
Love Fernando. We spent a lot of time together this week, and I love that guy. So we did more airless demonstrations. We were teaching young people that are not even painters. I would
not
guess
even
most of
themselves. Absolutely.
Most of the demonstrations that we did weren't for painters.
Do you remember
just
about
for
that girl?
curious people.
Do you remember what the feeling that had?
Yeah, it's amazing.
So she got the feeling straight away. Yeah. Not the feeling, but the technique.
People were. And the highlight of that day was. A group of like 15 South Africans came to Sinai in Brazil to learn about construction trades, so they can bring not only the knowledge of that, but the knowledge of teaching construction trades back to South Africa. Their teacher came and got me and says, "My people are so curious about this. Would you please do this?" And we spent half hour, 45 minutes. I told them a little about myself, a little about the equipment, and I answered all the questions. All of them got in there, and we actually did a bunch of spraying.
Then I said, "Thank God I got some rest because they both could speak English." Today I got away.
So Ronnie's tongue got a rest, and then all the South Africans spoke English, so I got a little break too from and then 9 words I know in Portuguese. So, but it's like inspiring. Women from South Africa, not painters, are never going to be painters. They don't intend to be painters. They intend to be architects and instructors, and they're curious. They just want to know. They're so curious. That was an absolute blast. We had some lunch. I must attract people. I must stand out like a sore thumb because we attracted another young fella who just came up and just sat down. Hey, let's speak.
Yeah, that's it. I didn't take rest at that time because one of my bosses asking me because I have a course about wallpaper for the next week. So he called me to do the business too, the plans, and all the kind of stuff. I took 2 wallpapers.
But you got a break from me.
He's in the back,
which is a big break.
It was amazing. So you see, we work together, always thinking about something different. That's so amazing. And then we went to the lecture.
Then we had another lecture, and this one was awesome too. More painters. There was more of the painters I knew.
More painters, yeah.
Yep, and it's getting concentrated as we go along. The first couple of lectures and demonstrations were mainly for just like curious people. There were some painters thrown in there too, but we got more and more painters as we gathered on as we got closer to Sao Paulo. And yeah, again, it was another great lecture. We got in heated questions, and
Oh,
we talked about
exactly. What was about that was what I was about to say, that there was loads of questions. Those of them were with hidden one, but they were very nice because they were professionals too, and they get key questions. That was
exactly.
amazing.
Yep. So I'm going to just plug this in. Is there anything else you want to talk about Tuesday before we move on?
Tuesday. So we got the lecture. And that was the strongest day, the roughest day that we had. And the lecture was funny because when we were at the very end of this, the people start talking to us, asking everything, every single thing about professionally saying they would like to absorb every single knowledge that Nick Slavik would have. And they said to me, Ronnie, that's a unique opportunity. So they found the key that we were about to tell them, to show them about Nick Slavik's project in Brazil. And then we have Joel.
Joel.
Right?
Yes. George.
Tell them about this, the way that he feels. Joel is a Brazilian painter, and he was trying to get into the lecture. He got late, he got lost, and then he got into the school. And then when he got into the classroom, what he did?
He walked right into the middle of the lecture. I think he gave you a hug. He came up to me, and I got about 8 kisses from him.
8 kisses from him.
And this is a guy that we've been following each other for a year or two, and he posts a lot of stuff. I post a lot of stuff. He's a super enthusiastic guy who loves his trade, and he's got the biggest heart I've ever seen in my life. And yeah, right in the middle of the lecture,
a true feeling.
I get a lot of bristly beard kisses from a guy that I only know from the internet, and it was just it's humbling.
That's the know what the men love each other.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So, and I just absolutely love it, and it was such a good time. And again, what I was afraid of is that all we would talk about is the cool brushes I could get, or the cool sprayers, and it's like we get over that real quick. People are curious, they take a look, they ask a question. Then we get to life stories. I was very pleased that
Joel.
Everybody,
that's it, Joel.
Yeah, exactly.
Joel.
There we go. Yeah, and John George.
John George was one of the nice fancy barbs like that.
And I just love, that people are interested in bettering themselves as humans by input from other people. They want to hear another story so that they can learn from it. And it was it's just amazing. I mean, everybody here wants to do better and want to create good things so badly. It's amazing.
And actually, we had a good conversation. Do you remember about that heat discussion he started about that Brazilian in the back? And he asked it because Felipe took the word and he said, Felipe,
my guy from Souvenir.
Yeah. And he was talking about you. I said the way that he wants to say that was a kind of conversation that we had at that moment. That the feeling that we have to take is to work hard and the kind of stuff that we were talking about all the time. But then he said, but how can we compare ourselves as American? How can we compare ourselves as the American instructor? And then I took the word again, strongly.
Yep.
As I said, but through the right way, motivated. That was the feeling that I had at the moment. And I said to him, but we're not talking about the structure. We talked about self-confidence. It's like get motivated from inside out.
Yep.
So we have all these problems. Nick Slavik has all these problems in America. He had to solve his problems, right? He didn't ask for anybody to do that. Just start to think about something to get away of this and make things work and get to moving on. So, and I told him, I explained him through the right ways, and he was unmoved because he didn't any other excuses, right?
Yep.
And then he got the point through the right way, motivated, and said, yeah, that's it.
And there's been, I think, 2 or 3 common themes throughout this week. And one thing that was reinforced as me is stop making excuses. Mm-hmm. And I think that was a common theme that I think the Brazilians took away and I took away. And we'll probably get to some more themes. But that was probably one of the big takeaways is that we're our own worst enemies. And if we have a problem in business, most of us haven't tried hard enough to solve the problems that we can handle first before complaining about this boogeyman.
It's easier to blame anything else than ourselves.
Well, fixing ourselves is the hardest part.
It's the hardest part,
Yeah, absolutely. So, should we call Tuesday a day?
Yeah, and then it's over. Then we went.
And again, the idea is.
We finished the lecture pretty late. Remember?
Very late.
Vanya was so excited with that. Said, "Ronnie, keep moving.
Yeah. And so,
we have to thank Vania too, Vania Kanesh,
Yes. Oh,
one of the
absolutely.
main,
Yeah,
one
yeah,
of the
yeah.
main
Yeah, yeah.
persons of Senai, Tatuapé. She worked a lot with us, as well as Newton. So it was amazing.
And Christian, we're going to get to your answer. Christian is the person who wrote me the kindest words this morning. We're going to get to some of the differences in the trades, because I think I now have a super clear idea of what Brazilian painters are up against, what they have as benefits, what they have as detriments to their businesses, and we're going to get to that later. So, is that all right? Sorry, we won't get into that inside Brazilian joke between me and the rest of everybody here.
Absolutely. Let's
So,
move.
and how much time did we spend laughing? I mean, when we were talking,
30% of our time.
30% of all interactions were tears running down our faces
My
because it's
goodness.
the funniest things we've ever heard. So, okay, so let's call Tuesday a day, and remember, these days are 7 or 8 in the morning till about 2 in the morning, and deep,
almost that, yeah.
heated discussions every day.
Every day.
Everywhere we went, everybody wanted to discuss, and if somebody didn't stop us, we'd still be talking. I would still be talking in Lençóis Paulista.
No,
with people.
if I would say, if you get the things repeated, wasn't the lecture, but it wasn't the same thing all the time. Because in the very first lecture, I've lost many words from you. So
Yeah,
and the second one I got better and better and better.
We're getting
now,
good.
I know your story better than yourself.
Well, which is funny now is that if we were to do this lecture right now, I could basically just hit play on Ronnie,
That's
and
it,
then Ronnie
son.
could take it away.
Leave it to me.
I think he does
Shut
a better
up.
job than I do with this. So okay, so let's call Tuesday a day. It was after the lecture. Was there anything?
Then we came to the hotel and we tried to eat something. There was nothing to eat. Remember that?
Yep. And,
I got some sweets, and then we just have a quick talk, and I went to straight to the.
So we're on to
bedroom.
Wednesday. What did we do Wednesday? This is the big day where we first went to Souvenir, right?
Yeah, Souvenir. Oh, we were in the headquarters.
Yep.
Of Souvenir.
So BASF, everybody knows as the big chemical company. They create chemistry. They're a multinational, monstrous company, and one of their subsidiaries is Souvenir. It's a paint company that is top of market in Brazil. They're known for being the best.
That's it. Yeah.
But they also get them in Europe too, right? Souvenir is in
Germany,
Europe too?
Germany.
Yeah. So because BASF is a German company, I believe, or at least
Yeah, in a German company,
Yeah.
but they have like 4 different areas. So Souvenir is the painting
Yep.
decorating area, right? And then they have agriculture, I think,
Yep.
and some other chemical, oils, or kind of stuff like that, oil and gas. And the other ones I just don't remember.
And so how a lot of this got started is Ivan Barrigo and Giuliano Alcantara, two of the sort of voices and the heads of what you would consider painters in Brazil, contacted me a few years ago. We've been exchanging things over the internet for a while. We got Ronnie involved.
They need a translator. Yeah, I remember
Yeah,
that.
and we needed a translator, and they came to Ronnie, and that's how I met Ronnie. So basically, the genesis of all this was Giuliano and Ivan reaching out, you helping,
through the GADEP group.
through the GADEP, and you three became my big three. I mean, Giuliano and Ivan are visionary people. They're sort of leading the cause here. You are super knowledgeable with it. You're the voice of the painter. You teach painting. You speak perfect English. And it was just like, you're a moderator too with the GADEP.
Yeah,
group.
I do, yeah.
And so maybe you should explain what GADEP is.
Actually, GADEP started with Giuliano's feeling. There must be something special about the Brazilian professional painters. And then he created actually the MBPM,
Yep.
right? We must get this from.
And these are all painters groups.
They're
here in
all
Brazil.
painters group in Brazil. And then he just split it up about MBPM, and then he created the GADEP group. It wasn't the GADEP group; it was just painter.
And GADEP is a series of letters. It's an acronym that stands for Brazilian words that mean betterment of the painter, things like that.
I try to remember, but it's a professional, helpful group of professional painters, like something
Perfect.
about it.
I think everybody understands the
So,
idea.
thank you.
Painters banding together to do better.
I like
together.
to contextualize the things all the time, so get this.
And
then
so this GADEP group, this is one of those
created
groups with hundreds of thousands of
Yeah,
painters.
but actually, Giuliano said something very special to me. I said, Ronnie, I start to find painters all over Brazil and all over the world, and just inviting them. So, and then he got a good amount of people, and then everything else just happened the way that we see now.
And which is interesting is because this is just Brazil, but the GADEP group, and Universo de Pintora, and just all these painters groups are the clearinghouse for the world's painters. You
That's
guys discuss the most, you're most forward thinking, you're most connected, you have the most people, and it attracts people like me. It attracts people from Asia, from Europe, from everywhere.
That's it.
This is the place where, like, yes,
we
it's
have
just
people
a
from
painters
Angola.
group.
We have people from
It's amazing.
There's many places like.
But this is the
Occident,
place
yeah.
where the painters of the world come. This
That's
is a
it.
worldly
That's it.
community, and that's how I was lucky enough to be made a moderator
I
of
have,
that for a
I have
while.
friends from Finland, Germany, England, Estonia, Lithuania, China. Oh no, I didn't say China. There's a place of China that they have internet access of Facebook.
Yeah,
Loads
yeah,
of them they don't.
yeah.
But
Okay, so
Taiwan, yeah.
I forget what we were talking about to get to there, but basically that was the genesis of all
no,
this.
Genesis, because when we met each other, so we were talking about Wednesday morning, yeah. And then we went to the Souvenirs
yes, Souvenir.
headquarters.
So
yeah,
Souvenir
yeah.
spurred this all on because that's how we got involved, and you were basically the spark that got this whole fire going. You did all the work to get here. You found Souvenir. Souvenir underwritten this entire thing. We had Greco's involvement, we had Gadep's involvement, we had Sinai's involvement, but really Souvenir was like
Was the main sponsor.
Yeah,
right?
I mean
They
did a lot of the heavy
trustee.
lifting.
No,
Yeah.
that absolutely.
Yeah.
Actually, I asked Sinai with that at that time crazy idea, right? I talked to Everson and Danielle first.
Yep,
Danielle,
yep.
I had something special in my heart. That's what I felt that time. So I have something special in my heart about this and that. His name is Nick Slavik. I don't know how, I don't know when, but I think we must meet each other someday here in Brazil. That was the saying that I said to him. He said, no, I think it's okay, but you know that we don't have this huge amount of money to get through this, so you must find out a way to make this true. And then I asked a person from Tintas,
Yep,
right,
the
in
big
September,
painters fair. Yep.
and I sent to them a huge email and telling about your story and mine and what we've done about and all the kind of material that we know. We didn't get through this. We didn't make it through that way because of the money and kind of everything. And then I went to Felipe, and then Felipe, I have a crazy idea. I need crazy people to me, close to me. He said, Ronnie, I don't have this amount of money or even politics power to say that, but I put you through a big meeting in a loud voice and through the phone. You have 30 seconds to tell them. You have 30 seconds to tell them, and why is this important? So I said, okay. We took about 20-25 days, and then he rang me a day. I was walking through the school, and then Ronnie, you have your 30 seconds now. And then I went through this, took my air, took my breath, and told everything I could through the right way. And then they said there were people who believe it, that there were people they don't, right? And then it started to happen, and then he started to ask me things. I said, wait. But we got through this. And I got support the instructor, and then I called Greco, and then the idea just came out, and then I started to put all the things, and then I said I must set up a PowerPoint presentation. I'm a painter, but I had to go through the computer to do these things, and I sent to them this. Felipe, I didn't know Felipe used that presentation to make them realize how big it would be.
Wow.
But we didn't realize how big it would be.
I would have put more time into it if I
mean?
would have known that. My God.
But we got non-believers too, right?
Yep.
And this is important to
Oh, of
understand.
course. With every big thing, there's going to be
big
that,
thing.
right? Yep.
But I do you remember when I said to you through the phone, I said, Nick, it's going to be huge. And said, yeah, okay. But you didn't realize.
It's like, yeah, sure, yeah, I'm coming to Brazil. It's huge. Yeah, that's crazy for me, right? And you're like, no.
No, you have no idea
you don't
what
understand
you're talking
yet.
about.
You're not going to understand.
That's it.
So basically, Felipe, our guy from Souvenir, he is basically the link to the painter in Brazil from the paint company.
Yeah.
He's the guy who's out
the
there.
only one between all those companies.
It's amazing.
Really?
It's amazing, and he's another young guy like us. He is so passionate about what he does, and it's amazing. This whole week, he lives here. He left his family and stayed with us, close to us, to sort of be. He's our transporter.
Yeah.
He's our facilitator. Everything we need is taken care of. Everything we need. I just had to stand here and be dragged around by the collar, and I do this every once in a while. You then take that and do this.
Mm-hmm.
You line up everything. Felipe lines up everything, and it was just like, I'm just standing here just like a puppet, just when somebody says, Nick, we need you for something, done. And everything was taken care of. Everything was taken care of.
That's it. And then on Wednesday we spend the most part of the day on souvenirs talks with many people from many areas. And
love meeting everybody at the people I met there. A lot of the painters here in Brazil are worried that the paint companies don't care about us. You know, they're not on our side. They're selling stuff to do-it-yourselfers, or they're the big shots in the tower and we're down here. That is definitely not the case.
Not at all. Not at all.
I mean, it is way opposite of that. And the people that I met are full of heart. They're full of soul. And their only thing that they wanted to tell me,
with one goal,
they have one goal. They have rebranded the company.
Absolutely, that's crazy. That was crazy.
Their only goal in life is to better the Brazilian painter in his life.
Yeah, that's it.
And it's amazing. It's amazing, and that's not bullshit.
No,
that's not a line that a company says because they want to sell more cans of souvenir.
Not at all.
I mean, you could tell
they're leaders.
Yeah, you could tell that the same heart that I felt at Sinai, I felt there with all those people, and they were the kindest people. And even yesterday, I ran into one of the main marketing people at Souvenir at another project, and it's like, "Oh my God, you're here too! This is great!" And we were genuinely happy to see each other because they're just good people. There's
no acting on that. There's no acting.
No, it's amazing. It's amazing, and it reminds me a lot of the interactions I have with the American paint suppliers too. It's a change. 10 years ago, it was probably not like this.
Yeah, absolutely.
They were probably just making paint and saying, "Why the hell aren't people buying more paint?" And the paint manufacturers now, and I'm happy to see this in Brazil, they're so warm to the painter. They're so open.
They turn it to the people's, to the human side.
Yeah.
He said it was a faraway situation, right?
Yeah.
You're in the industry.
Oh, it was separated.
Paint.
We're the paint people. You're the painters. Just please paint more.
Oh, they used to say, some of them, not even from souvenirs, they said, if you get water and we just dye it, we just make it like with color and put it into the bucket and sell it, we would sell it.
Yeah,
But now
true.
everything has changed. Everything has changed. They understand, especially souvenir, and what I've seen, that now they have the time to get people together, get people close, especially the customers, especially the people themselves, and they know that their feeling make the huge change and understanding about the whole industry and feeling as well about the situation that we're getting through now.
Every single person I talk to at Souvenir, the young people in the marketing team, the big directors of marketing there, they're all the same. They're so curious and they're so happy, and you can tell like they have a mission. And they understand that it involves people, and they seek out the people first, and then business solutions later. Business is a consequence of having good relationships.
Exactly. Yep. And then by the end of Wednesday, we found Gadap's group.
Yes.
Remember?
So
the hotel.
Yeah. Absolutely. Yep. There's so painters, all the big shots, all the painters from Brazil. So. The main painters in Brazil, I think it's safe to say, are the moderators of GADEP, which is why I explained what GADEP is.
And many of other ones.
They're basically the people who control the group. Not control, but like sort of traffic cop. Those
moderate.
They moderate these groups of hundreds of thousands of painters and constantly try to keep the pettiness down and try to remind people that we're all in this together and we have a common goal to do better.
That's it.
And so they're sort of like the voices of the industry, and one by one they started showing up, and I knew every damn one of them when they walked.
That's it. Yeah.
And I've known these people for years. I've been in the moderator group with them, and it's just been the most amazing thing ever to actually see these people in person. And they reminded me of the PDCA. They're a self-selecting group of the best professionals that you guys have to offer.
Yeah, when I remember about that part, I remember actually when we were in the St. Islands, actually the days before, you got many gifts from heart of the professional painters. All that carving, the covering mold, that materials are amazing.
I have 70 pounds of gifts. I have handmade. We have
carving wood,
liquors, cheese, desserts from people's home states, home countries. A hand-carved statue. Somebody brought me a trophy that was handmade. All this stuff handmade. I got Brazilian soccer jerseys with my name on it.
Official one. I don't have an official one.
a guy who owned some paint stores, not even owned them. He just managed
with your name written with your name.
And he was so happy to have everybody here because he wants the same thing we do. And one by one, I've been collecting up these things all week, and I now have more than an entire suitcase. It's about a suitcase and a half. It's 70 pounds of things that people have given me. And it's just been the most amazing thing ever. And every one of them, you know, a guy had his daughter decorate, who didn't have her, she decorated a paintbrush in the Brazilian colors for me.
That's it.
So
we went to Thursday morning, and
Thursday
then
morning
we went to the souvenir training center, excellence center.
Yes, absolutely. Yeah. So what was the first thing we did that day? Lots of discussions with groups of people, right? So everybody's curious.
We were trying to set up the whole thing about the. No, we went to the laboratory.
Yes. Oh, that's right. We got to see the good stuff. So,
yeah.
And there was a couple products I was very interested in, and they actually showed me the science behind them. Got to see the product, taste the product, smell the product, and understand it. And it was a really good thing. So.
Yeah, it was amazing, especially the animal. Yeah.
Yeah. So what do we do after that?
And then we went to.
This is all a blank spot for me.
Yeah. Actually, we went to the training center, and then all the painters start to arrive, and then we were trying to set up the lecture. Was a hard work at that day.
Technology is
by
very
the last
interesting
minute. By the
thing,
last minute, we got screaming on the.
And this is where listen. Everybody knows that I had a blast all week.
Yeah.
But that day was special.
Absolutely.
I was surrounded by people who are my peers, professionals and voices of the industry, and that day was special.
Absolutely.
That day was special.
We got we say applications in Brazil, but paint applications.
Yep.
Yeah. We got paint applications. Ivan Burigo brought all those nice paint brushes to make edges.
Absolutely.
And we got. To sprayers like with those fillers and everything.
Yep.
Greco was there too to help
Guillermo
us with that
Neri,
material.
the guy the famous guy who does all the decorative stuff. I saw him practice his art there too.
Yeah, Facebook. I got a picture of you, very nice.
Well, but it gets lost.
Yeah,
Okay,
right.
good.
Yeah.
Okay, now we'll make it quick. So sorry about that. We've already been doing this an hour, so sorry, connection interruption here. So okay, so where are we at now? Okay, so this is the group.
You're talking about the Guillermo Neres and then
yeah. So these are my people.
Yeah,
we're all pros, and this is very special to me because they're not just young curious students who will never be painters. These are people who have devoted their life to this.
Absolutely, that will be the main point.
It was a special thing.
And then by the evening, we got a very nice close conversation, painter to painter, from painter to painter in the hotel. It got to late.
Every night you just get around and we discuss betterment. We discuss people's personal stories, how to make things better, what we should be doing and not doing, and it's really an amazing thing. So.
Got closer to the people's stories. I think that was the main thing, because remember when you said because it's from professionals to professionals, it's a closer feeling wherever you come from. Was amazing. And then we went to Friday,
yesterday.
I don't remember about Friday.
Oh boy. Okay. Let's see. Okay, give me 10 seconds. Okay, so Friday morning, I think we had a little more free time in the morning to sort of get our stuff together. We went to the
we went to the project.
The project, yes. So we visited the favela.
The favela.
Favelas.
We call it Chattel Town, Jay.
Yep. And then there is a partnership with Souvenir and another company who is working to take favelas, which are very, very low income housing, probably the lowest of the low here. And they're basically
we call them as D class.
D class.
Yep. A, B, C, A plus A, or they're D class, right?
Yeah. So these people mainly live in unfinished houses. So they put up the blocks. There's nothing finished inside. Some of them don't have windows.
Most of it, no.
Yeah, and there's just some kitchens and some bathrooms cobbled together. And,
that's it. Yeah.
You know, kids sleeping on the floor, and
they found this market. Yeah.
And it's amazing. This company comes along and basically partners with suppliers, and not just any suppliers. They go to the best suppliers, the souvenirs,
and through the social way, and at the same time a huge challenge because it makes it worth it, right? Because they have to work as
so well. They basically have kits for houses. They have kitchen kits, bathroom kits, bedroom kits, and basically these people come to them and they use SketchUp, and they have these sort of counselors in they have a store set up
That's
on this little side street near the favela, and it's basically their showroom saying, listen, you live in a favela, we can help you. We're gonna see what kind of money you're making. If you can make a little down payment, we'll have you do that. If you can't do that, all you're gonna do is make a monthly payment.
That's it.
And it's 30 or 40 installments. It's like 50. It's the equivalent of like 50 real, something like that.
No, it depends of the amount of
the
money
income.
monthly. They make a study.
But
about
they structured it so basically it's a doable,
That's
completely doable for everybody. But they basically take these contractors and these things and say, for this amount of money, you give us a very short amount of time because they're very small and people still live there. They can't relocate, and they come in quickly. They have these kits. It's a science. They get them in, get these people going, and to say it changed people's lives is an understatement. Like,
and they have goals, big challenges.
Tabitha is my handler at This Old House. Shared to the This Old House page. Thank you for the update. Feels like I went on the trip with you.
Thank you very much, my friend. Thank you very much, my friend.
That's probably why we just
we're going to meet each other soon.
So.
We hope. Yeah.
Tabitha, thank you so much. And you know, she's another very thoughtful person too at This Old House. And yeah, she feels the same way and has been commenting.
That's
on
for you.
The week.
See,
so,
that's the Brazilian too.
Thank you. Or as we say here, muito obrigado.
Muito obrigado. Thank you very much.
So Friday was very special. We did the tour there of the favela and sort of saw how Souvenir was partnering with people to do that in the afternoon.
And then we have that big round table with all the painters together,
which is huge. Oh, and I should say that
professional cameras.
The previous day, we did Papo de Pintor, which is basically the painters chat. And Ivan Barrigo, one of the most famous painters down here, he has a show called Papo de Pintor, which is basically Ask a Painter in Brazil.
Yeah, it would be something like that. Yeah,
it's the painters chat.
I would say painters chat, painters talk. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. So, and I've done Papo de Pintor before with you when we've done remote
a few times.
You've been in Brazil, I've been in the U.S. I actually got to do it not only with you live, with Ivan live, all the moderators live, all the famous painters here in Brazil.
Together.
So I'm going to pause and take 1 second. For all the people who are watching brand new from This Old House here, I am Nick Slavik. I am an American house painter from Minnesota, and I am here in Brazil doing a tour trying to learn about trades education and the Brazilian painter. I'm very close with all my Brazilian painters, and we're just completing a week-long tour where I'm giving talks and lectures about perspective and learning about the Brazilian painter so I can bring a bunch of this back to the United States. We're all trying to change the trades right now, bring some dignity to it and some interest to it, and you could argue that these guys might be doing it better than the United States right now. At least you're doing it, you have way more enthusiasm for it than us. We're approaching it very business-like. You guys have the hearts, and and also, when you see your technical schools like Sinai, you could argue that you guys might have more of an infrastructure for doing it than we do too.
But I can even tell you some professionals or some people that they're a long time, as you said, like 55-year-old professional painter in America, and then they say, Sinai said, they say that's just for English people. See, that's what they say. Some of them, we have some resistance, but we're changing because they know they're losing market. So when they change, there's something on their pocket, right? And they say that there's something no good, right?
And Milton
Toski.
One of the moderators there too. We spent a couple days together. Good guy. Okay, so let's not get too off track.
Right.
So thank you for everybody at This Old House. Thank you, Tabitha, for sharing this. This means the world to me. In America, you know This Old House.
Absolutely.
I've watched it since I was a kid. Everything I know about quality has been from that. I am not a carpenter. I'm not Norm Abrams. I do not make furniture. But what I understand about quality came from that. And I hope that I can be a good representative of that for painters, of what it means to love your job. So, so yes, I know you know what a big deal it is, but again, a week of humbling surprises, and that's one of them.
That's one of them. And then we went to the Papo de Pintor on Thursday, and then on Friday,
and they had a satellite truck, dual cameras set up, sound equipment, everything, which is insane. And then the same thing happened Friday afternoon. We had all the moderators together, and we had an open discussion of a lot of things that complicate our businesses, things we're looking forward to.
Many questions,
Lots of questions, and we sent it out live over Facebook. So all these videos, even the one where I show the crowd screaming, they're all on Facebook and Instagram, so you can go check those out. So after we got the big moderators together for the live thing, what did we do?
On Friday?
Yes.
I think it was time to rest. Yeah.
I think we came back here.
We came back to the hotel, and then we kept ourselves talking. Most of them they left straight away.
Yes, most people had to get back to their real lives.
Yeah.
They aren't on this crazy exotic world tour in tropical countries, and these people have businesses to run and families to take care of. So kind of some people trickled in, some people trickled out. Long goodbyes, gifts exchanged, hugs and kisses and handshakes and pictures and
loads of.
Oh my God! And in Minnesota, we're sort of famous for the long goodbye, where if you start saying goodbye an hour and a half later, you're still kind of backing out the door, shaking hands, hugs, and you're waving. And you guys are the masters of that. You guys,
that's it.
It was hard to part ways. I mean, it honestly was. Like, you didn't want to leave. You just wanted to hang out.
Yeah, that's it.
So you and I went back. I went back to my room, and I hit the bed like a ton of bricks.
Wow.
That morning, the previous night, I had been up till I think 4. And we sat down in the lobby, me and a bunch of people, and you actually came back down a little bit too, and I think you might have went to bed later, but we sat there in these discussions, and every time we would sit down with these people, 5 hours would disappear.
That's it, yeah.
Every single time.
Straight away.
And this
without
isn't a party.
Without even feel that.
We're not at a club downtown. We're sitting in a couple chairs.
Yeah.
Anywhere. And 5 hours just disappear.
And then, I think by the last evening, and then they were just me, and Nick, Lucas, and Felipe. And we had a great conversation.
One of the greatest human beings.
Oh,
also
amazing.
Very much taller in real life than I
am. Oh,
am.
yeah, that's it. So, and I think one of the amazing things was our stories just got together. That's so amazing. It's amazing.
So I'll try to get through this here.
Yeah, right.
This is difficult, but we would sit there and have these long discussions and bond over mutual things. And last night was the culmination of it.
Yeah.
Felipe, you, me, and
was a
Vitor.
crown of it.
And basically, we're all standing around. The conversation ended in tears.
Having fun,
in the middle of the night, and then, it's an amazing thing, a time I won't forget. So,
yeah, we got such an amazing feeling that time, and I do remember that when I remember that we were talking about Nick Slavik's life, and I was translating straight to my friends, and Lucas was just hearing about that, and he got a straight connection to this, and then it looks like we've been Nick's brother's life. Nick said, I was translating straight away that the things that he said. Ronnie, just stop that. You're talking about my life. You're talking about my story. It was so amazing, because our family's story, I would say something like that, was so connected. I didn't even know Nick's life stories before. Felipe's story and Lucas' stories. We got the thing so straight. So that was a feeling that we like. I said to Nick, Nick, I don't know you, but then he said to me, Ronnie, we don't need 30 years time to know each other. That was and we got the thing so clear that was a time changer for my entire life. All the feeling that we had, all the feeling that I have now, is that feeling that I'm. That is some things.
Yeah. So it was. That's something I'm not going to forget. I couldn't if I tried.
Yeah.
Yeah. That was basically the perfect culmination of a week of that. It was different. So we're not running marathons. We're not lifting weights. We're not climbing mountains. We're not doing physically problem. There we go. So the emotional connection you have with these people is amazing. So everybody keeps saying, "Oh, it looks like you like Brazil." It's like, I can't even. How do you even say it?
I think the main words that I would describe by the last evening, that I would say that the forgiveness brings you freedom. The forgiveness brings you freedom.
And especially when that came out in a deep way when we were talking about our fathers.
That was the main point of our conversation, because our stories got together, in such a way that it would be unbelievable. We would say we would have the same father, we would have the same family, we would have the same structure, we would have the same result of this. That's something that makes all the senses. And then when Lucas said to me, Ronnie, it looks like he's my brother, and we were making jokes all the week. I said he's a younger brother, like that bad one, like bad guy, like
for people who don't know,
woodpecker, like Harry, like
for people who don't know Lucas, he's a dude he's got German descent, so he's a blonde-haired, blue-eyed guy who's a Brazilian who speaks Portuguese. I had a lot of questions for this guy, and he's way down. This guy who looks exactly like me, except born and raised Brazilian and pure Portuguese. There's nothing German or American about him, but
all those nice blue eyes too.
The guy have blue eyes. Lucas, he's got, geez, look at those blue eyes, so it's amazing.
Even Fernando Granado, it looks like
Fernando, oh my God, yeah, it's. I had a lot of questions for Lucas. What are you doing here? And why can you speak Portuguese?
I think our fathers have been traveling away, so having some fun somewhere else.
Okay, all right, so that brings us to today, and we basically all recovered. I slept...
Everything packaged.
I slept like a bear that got shot. I laid in my bed, and I woke up the next day, didn't know where I was, who I was, and just laid in bed for probably an hour or two this morning, just like trying to digest. Trying to just be like, what in the hell just happened?
That's it, Nick. If I would describe myself in this week, I would describe myself in an entire life preparation for this week, I would say.
God, that's not an understatement. It's the same for me. Everything I could muster. It seems like all that hard work. I've only talked to other painters for 2 or 3 years. I've only been involved with the internet in this way for 2 years.
2 years.
I've been a painter for 25 years. I thought the rest of my life was going to be me painting by myself. And then my knee would break and everything would go away. I thought, there's no camaraderie, there's no other people. All I have is me in this world. I have to figure everything out.
Me and Nick, we had a very good surprises from our wives this week too. I got a message from my wife, but he got a previous message from his wife too.
Yeah.
We had can I say that?
Please. Because I can't say it. I won't
correct.
get through it. I'm emotional.
Me too. Even more than you do. So we got our wives. He has 4 kids. I do have 3 kids. I don't work very hard as do, but as he does. But he got a message from his wife this week because he has a weight on his shoulders the same as me. I left them there. You left them there, right? And he got a message from his wife and saying, "I'm so proud of you." He took a weight, like a ton. I wouldn't say a ton, but the whole land of piece of earth from his shoulders, because he said to me all the time that his wife said, "No, you do whatever you want to do. That's it. No much feeling about that." And then this week, he got a message from his wife saying that, "I'm so proud of what you have done." It breaks a barrier. When I tell you about forgiveness gives you freedom, that's what I'm talking about. I got that from my wife too. So I got so many and sometimes sayings about my wife, so I'm going to split it up with you because it doesn't make sense to me. Go to the hell, the very deep way of hell, because painters are crazy, you're crazy, leave to me, I'll get your mobile phone and throw that through the wall, because it doesn't make sense to me. And this week, she just sent a message to me and said, "Ronnie, I saw you in the live video, and you were wonderful. You were wonderful. I'm so proud of you. I'm so proud to make part of your life."
Wow.
You have no idea what it means, because my structure, we say here in Brazil, we build a house, right? And we have the structure below the house. That's the structure below the foundation. And the foundation for myself, I say to this is not the point, but for me it's the point, because this is my belief, this is my truth. Between God and my wife, this is my, how do you say in the house structure?
Foundation.
These are my foundation, and this foundation keeps me breathing to keep my dreams coming true through these situations. Like, do you know what I mean? I hope that you get my feeling. And he got this week. So all the things that he would say that this is right, this is the rate I would say that this is okay, he said that's the feeling that he had this week. So you're going to have good conversation and a different way that you see your family through this. Even you got a conversation. You got to learn from us too. That's
listen,
speechless.
I
Mate.
feel like the worst human being on earth because it feels like all the benefit flowed one way this week. It's like I'm gonna go back and everything's different now.
Nick,
Everything's different now.
And you've got business to solve, Nick. You've got business to solve.
Yeah, and I am here not because I have solutions or not because I have found the perfect way to do it. Everything I have is I'm new to all this. Business, painting, maybe not so much. I feel like I'm a fairly well-rounded veteran with that, but
we feel that this is just a consequence. Yeah.
All this stuff is like, I'm not here saying, hey, I'm the best painter in the United States. I run the most successful business. Here's how you should do it. It was more like, man, we're all in this together, and we feel like there's a change happening now, and we feel like we're the ones that have to help this change. And I think it's just like we want this to be better. We want this to be better, and it's good right now. It's good, but we have this constant yearning for better, and I'm glad we found other people like that. And so when people ask me, do you like Brazil? It's like, the only thing I can say, and I don't know if it gets across to people, is I've been a lot of places.
That's it, yeah.
The people are always good, right? I've never been a place and be like, oh, boy, the people there. Mm-hmm. The food is always good. The difference is I would move my family here. I would live here.
It's about trustness.
Yeah. I have a feeling like even if I don't understand the government, even if I don't understand the language, even if I don't understand the eccentricities of your culture, I trust the people. And I know that just like how I trusted you and Philippe this week, which is the hardest thing in the world for me to do, because I like it, I like it minute by minute.
Straight away, yeah.
Preparation.
Scientific data.
Preparation, yes. And I love that. And I know that if I just showed up here, hat in hand, with my family, everything would be taken care of.
Do you know
not that you guys would do things for me, but no worries.
Do you know
we can all figure this out.
Do you know what I feel? I'm talking about responsibility now. I'm a person who creates personality to people, who creates opinion for people, right? Sometimes what we say becomes truth, right? And I feel that I'm kind of light for those who are in darkness.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It's a huge responsibility. And I'm talking about professionalism. But the professionalism means to me that my life itself is an experience for those, and those who have experience is an experience for me.
Yeah.
It's an exchanging process for all this kind of thing that we're talking about.
I'm going to see if we can do something really special. Steve Skodak is watching, and if Steve is willing, I'm going to see if we can't get a quick exchange between you and Steve. You can ask Steve anything you want. Maybe Steve wants to ask you. We're running out of signal. We're running out of battery, so this will probably be the last thing.
Okay.
But what I wanted to do, we focused so much on me this week, which I always tried to get back to me asking you questions, which is very tough because everybody's so curious and enthusiastic here. But I'm curious about, I'm part of the Painting and Decorating Contractors of America, the PDCA. Steve is the director of that. He's the leader of our change,
right?
And he's actually doing things on the ground to create standards, to make things better. Maybe there's something you can ask of him. Maybe there's something he can ask of you. I feel there should be something. So we'll see if we can go do a live with Steve here. We can do. Because I would like, if we can't make this work, I still want to know. I would like you to tell all the painters in America something. Just something. What do we need to know about Brazilians? We know now that there's a lot of barriers you guys have. Your equipment costs magnitudes times more. So a Graco 390 sprayer costs $700-800 in the United States. What's it cost here?
We were talking about at least five times and more expensive.
5 times more expensive.
At least.
5 times more expensive. Employment law. If you pay a salary of $1,000 a month to one of your painters, what gets tacked on by the government every month?
Double, 100%.
$1,000. If you pay somebody $1,000 in wages a month, the government tax on another double.
Another double, straight away.
To get that.
Straight away.
So I asked these painters around me, why aren't you guys growing your businesses? Why is more than 50% of your entire market a painter and a helper? That's why. There are things standing in the way of the painters here that I take for granted. I can employ as many people as I want.
That was the feeling that I had when you talk about apprenticeship program. I was trying to understand how could it be possible here in Brazil.
All right, we'll try to get. Yeah, and sadly, there's nothing stopping you from. I think Steve might be trying to find some better connection here. But let's just say if we can't get Steve, the PDCA, you know enough about them to know that we are a very large organization with some of the best paint business entrepreneurs in America, Canada, Mexico. Is there something we can do for you? Is there something, if there's something you're curious about, is there an ask? Is there something we can do for the Brazilian painters?
That's a big roll on my hands now.
That's it. You're representing all Brazilians and painters.
I mean, I can tell you about my story myself. Senai means a lot to me. Means everything professional. The trade school, right? It made me become a professional. I thought I was a professional, and then I found Senai. You're going to get my point.
Yep.
In Senai, I found the human being who I am, the person who I would love to, who I would need to be with, right? I found people in Senai that they came from jail, people who have no jobs, people who expecting hope for them to bring their money to their families. Right? All right.
Hey, there we go.
Oh my God.
How's it going, man?
Oh my God! To say that it's going well is a big understatement. This is, I think you understand that this is life changing for me, and I've never had a better time before.
Well, I am glad to hear it. Yeah, we're pretty excited watching on our end to see one, how the trip went, and just to see how what a great job they're doing at one, hosting you, and two, getting you and the rest of us very excited about what's going on in the industry.
Absolutely, and the same excitement that we have and that your organization, the PDCA, has, they have in droves here, and it is. I wish we could transport. Like we're good at this. We're enthusiastic about it. We got a lot to learn from these guys.
Yeah. Oh, the very first thing that I would tell you, you look younger.
It's good. He's the big boss.
Thanks.
These things are the big boss. Yeah.
I tell you, Steve. I tell you.
Of course, we have snow on the ground here, so.
I tell you, Steve, the story that we are about to write is that the main change, the thing that changed mainly in Senai, was that when we realized that we must have ourselves closer to our students, to our professionals, to know them from inside out, because from once we know them from inside out, you start to understand yourself. You know what you want, and then we think that professionalism is a secondary thing. It is strange to hear about that, but when we know each other, when we know ourselves, professionalism just become a consequence of our work, of our hard work.
Yes.
You know what I mean?
Yes.
And when we got together, especially in my classes, I'm not talking about myself and promoting this, but when we go to my classes, the very first thing I said that to Nick, I start a conversation to know each other, to know who they are, their ages, what they do, what they are doing in the classes, what their dreams, what their objectives. We get together at the very first time and said, "This is Ronnie. This is an industrial trainer from Senai. I'm not used to this." So you got used to this because we mostly know each other. And I tell them my whole story, my kids, everything about it. When we get the best professionals ever, I get results, practical results of this kind of trainings. That I got people like those who made college on accounting, policemen, whatever they want, whoever they want, never even taught paintbrushes, and now they do professional things. Just because they believe that it would be different. It's all about your own.
It is.
It is a kind of stuff like that. I'm sorry if I don't get the right words. I keep missing words sometimes. So.
No, it comes through. It comes through. You're and I have to tell you, your English is much better than my Portuguese. So, yeah, we certainly see a movement and a desire, and it appears to be worldwide, of craftspeople starting to say, it's really important to us to hone our craft, but above that, it's important for us to share the craft. For centuries, there were guilds out there where they kept it close to the vest. You know, they didn't want to share their thoughts and their ideas.
That's a Brazilian.
And then we find out that there's a generation out here who says, not only do we want to share it, but we want to challenge you to grow and be as good as we are. Because if we're going to compete with someone in the marketplace, we want to compete with someone who's good.
Yeah.
And we want to say, if we're going to lose a job to you in business, at least the craft is going to shine. People who have a coding job done, we don't want to be embarrassed by the results of it. What we want to do is we want to compete in the fair marketplace, but at the same time, virtually every contractor I talk to is turning down work because they don't have enough qualified people to work on it. So, you know, that's certainly what led to our onboarding program that's coming out in 2019. And as we developed that program, we said, well, I bet this is something that we could do in Portuguese and just share with you guys as well. So we have a lot of programs we're developing right now that we have in mind for the Portuguese population and just giving it to the folks who are out there, because we also want your input. What are you seeing? What are you doing? If you have 100,000 people going through trade schools, my hunch is you'll have a whole lot to tell us about what works and what doesn't work, you know, compared to I mean, the number of trade schools we have in America are diminishing. And I think we're seeing a resurgence. We're starting to see more and more folks come back to the trades because they're going $100,000 in debt for a 4-year education at a traditional college, and they hate working at a desk.
Exactly.
So what are you guys seeing right now as really one of the biggest challenge that the Brazilian contractor has?
Actually, is saying about the
what is the big barriers? What's the biggest challenge for the Brazilians that maybe unique
professional
to you guys?
who are the professional painters already?
Yeah.
We're talking about the government taxes.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. Because if you have for example, an apprenticeship program as Nick Slavik does, I was thinking about that. For example, if I would have to open a company, right? And
Right.
to have one employer only, right? For this employer, if I pay $1,000, I have to pay another $1,000 to get to the government. For me, it's just unbelievable, impossible to do that.
Right?
Yeah. It would make it impossible for us too if we had to double the amount of payroll.
And we're talking about one employee, right? And when we
Right.
get jobs, we have to pay taxes too, right? It's 2 ways of taxes. And by the end of the year, do you remember when I explained to you about the
3 times?
And then we'll have the third taxes amounting. By the end of the year, we'll get a whole lot. For example, we make $100,000. So we have to make an accounting on a special app from the government, and we send this data to the government, and they will calculate this and see how many children you have, wife, and spending about health programs, dentists, whatever, and they calculate it. You can have the numbers before you send it, right? And depending of how much you spend on it, you have to pay a little more of taxes. A little bit more taxes of the taxes, right? It's a lot of taxes. I would love to go buy taxes all the time.
So that's the famous Brazil tax we hear about.
That's it. That's it.
And it's the main reason that a lot of things snapped into focus, Steve, because I know we've been trying to figure this out. We've been trying to figure out, you have so many people here, you're so enthusiastic. Why the hell isn't everybody having this easy time of success? Or why isn't this coming more easy?
Yeah.
And clearly, when you get around these groups of the best painters in Brazil, they're all like 1 or 2 person shops, and they're like, we're good. We're fine. And it's not because they don't desire to grow. It's because they don't really have the option.
That's to grow. I would say Fernanda would be an exception, right?
He knows about Fernanda Veronese.
She's an exception.
Yeah.
An exception. She has the employees, right? She pays everything. Okay. She have those procedures, and she would be the same as you. She would be Nick Slavik in Brazil.
No, she would be Gina Court.
She has an apprenticeship program too. She had. I don't get professional painters. When I get them, they are dangerous. It's exactly the way you do. A lot of the same things, Nate.
Decent human beings. That's what you want. Start with decent human beings.
Sounds a lot like the decent human being thing.
And I tell you, Steve, I would say our professionalism worldwide, I would say worldwide, between Americans, right, continentally saying, are getting old. And our main challenge is to make these professionals that already exist and those professionals that are rising, are growing up now, to make them understand that the whole industry, even ourselves, are changing, and it's changing quickly. That's our huge challenge here in Brazil. So thank God we woke up earlier than it would be too late,
Yes.
right? And I've been such a lucky person to be a bridge. I've been working for the last 18 years as a professional painter. Now I'm working in Senai. It's the 8th biggest vocational industrial institution of the world. It's huge, absolutely huge.
Yeah.
So I've been a bridge between those two worlds. You know what I mean?
So what, Ronnie, if you could ask Steve for one thing, what would you ask him or the PDCA or American Painters for?
What
do you need from us? What do you see from the Brazilian painters?
We need
reality.
We need your energy and enthusiasm is what we need.
It wouldn't hurt to get a few of the people either.
It's not easy. It's not difficult for me because I keep laughing. It's funny. It's funny because I got pursued. I got pursued for so. It's funny to say that, Nick and Steve. I keep missing names all the time. Right? My head just work as energy all the time. Crazy, but I was pursued in my profession for so many times because the way I am. And then somebody came to me, Steve, and said, Ronnie, absolutely never change the way you are because you are about to change something that I don't even know how to explain. And then this enthusiasm, I bring this to the class. And when I tell them about my story, about my family's story, it's something deep because sometimes you don't even want to look inside yourself, right? To tell
right.
And all of the courses that I make not just professional. I make friends. I have relationships with all of them. Absolutely, all of them. We're talking about 200, 400 professional. I don't know. Have no idea. But all of them, when they find me, say, Ronnie, hey, my teacher. I said, don't say my teacher. We're friends. But they captured the feeling that I would like them to have. And this is what makes the difference. I have a data, a scientific data. I'm learning from Nick. A scientific data that a company made an experiment, a huge company. When they went to find professionals, they have like very different ways to find them. Not by the professional skills. They didn't find skills. They just want to find this enthusiasm, right? Enthusiasm. They didn't know that. And then they found, for example, 15 people on this experiment. And their goal would be like to grow about 5% a month. They grew about 15, and then the second month 25, and then the other month 45%, just because of the enthusiasm of the people.
Absolutely.
Because
it's infectious
skills,
for sure.
Exactly. And then the professionalism and the skills became a consequence. This is something that's a breaking barrier. I don't know if you not because you don't understand, but the feeling that I have about this is something I don't even know how to explain that, Steve.
Well, we certainly have a resurgence in the U.S. for that enthusiasm of craft. And, Nick is certainly our face out in the marketplace of what the craftsman can look like. And, for us developing a path that the parents can see for their kids when they're at that 16, 17 years old, if we're able to show them a path where their kids coming into a program where they're going to earn income while they're being trained, they're going to come out with a trade. While their friends are all in taking out loans for $30,000 a year, their kid's going to be making $40,000 a year, just while they're training. So they won't come out with debt, and they're going to have a life that is. We always say, if you like being indoors when it's cold and rainy, painting's your business for sure. As long as you can handle the heights and the heat, you're good. But outside of that, you're going to be indoors, and there aren't a lot of trades that can boast that. I know yesterday when it was snowing outside and I see tradespeople showing up to do some things outside, I think painting looks pretty good right about now, doesn't it? So, but we are definitely seeing that enthusiasm here in the States and North America. And, we're refocusing our organization because our organization has been much like we talked about, where the focus was on the members, the few people that were actually in-house, as opposed to us looking, how can we serve the industry as a whole? We have 310,000 paint contractors in the U.S. alone. And so when you talk about that, and the average shop's 1.5 people, you say there's an awful lot of people out there who need help who may not necessarily want to engage in a membership organization because they're busy trying to make their business profitable and hire people. So we have really focused our organization on providing standardized and trade best practice to the industry that's going to be free of charge to them, so they can adopt our onboarding process with the video and the learning management system to track all the credentials. We're also working on a federal apprenticeship program that would allow us to have some of our contractors be able to bid on jobs they've historically not been able to, but also to raise the prevailing wage in the industry, for us to start seeing painters as a whole have an avenue to move up through the ranks in the industry. And we can't begin to tell people how many jobs there are, not just in painting, but being a paint owner, working for someone like Souvenel or someone like with BASF or any of the other. There are so many ancillary jobs that come with this that the career path is endless when you enter the coatings field, for sure. So we're excited to be doing those things, and we certainly want, you know, as our relationship, Ronnie, as we started going back and forth talking about what you guys were doing, I certainly believe that there's a good opportunity for us all to work together.
Absolutely.
To make, you know, to just raise the bar worldwide. And I think we had a great start with Nick being there this week, and for you guys doing such a great job at hosting him and introducing him to all the wonderful things that Brazil has to offer.
We get the best of both sides and make an excellence of this. And Nick asked me one thing a few days ago, Ronnie, would we be able to set up a Senai structure in Chicago? I said, we have structures in Africa. Why not?
I was so impressed by the nanotechnology trailers and these young professors teaching young people in a happy way. I thought, I know we have good trade schools in the U.S. I don't want to say that, oh, they're all garbage and they don't do this.
Right,
but right now, Steve, try to send your kid to a trade school to learn painting.
It's tough.
Yeah.
So, but what Senai has done, I thought, my God, we just have to get a branch of Senai somewhere here in the U.S. to see if it can be replicated. It's just such a wonderful place. So, but Steve, was there any last thing you want to tell all the Brazilian painters while we're here?
Come see us. We'd love to have you. Thanks for hosting our dear friend Nick, and Ronnie. We'd love to see you at Expo in March, and certainly I'd be willing to host you at that. If you're willing to make the trip, we would love to have you and allow you to be able to see what we do here, and also for you to bring some of that Brazilian enthusiasm and tell folks in the U.S. what's going on there in Brazil.
We're definitely going to talk about the Expo after this.
I'm going to tell you, I think one of the main reasons for me to be there, when even Nick asked me to be there at the very first time, I said I would share my story, my life story.
Yeah.
And it would change the people's mind, the way of view. It would be the very first thing that I would like to do. And then when we talk about Senai, I have links now, and people, Everson, for example, he will be the main bridge for that. And to get you straight to our main man from Senai, São Paulo, and then to start a conversation about something that I think we have no idea, Steve, what we are talking about. You're telling me 1,000 more than me.
You're too kind.
But probably even more than that.
Well, we were talking about a dream. Yesterday, Fernando said one thing. Said, "Well, Ronnie, we are not painting walls. We are painting dreams." That's the feeling that I would leave now. If you admit me, I would just say to the Brazilian people, you said, right? There's Brazilian people watching, okay? Pessoal, o Steve Skoda é o presidente do PDCA, que é o sindicato dos pintores que eles têm lá nos Estados Unidos. E ele tá maravilhado com tudo, sim, conheço, Vanessa, com tudo o que ele viu aqui. Essa energia que a gente tem, esse desejo de mudança, é completamente diferente de tudo que eles têm lá. Então, eles querem levar isso para os Estados Unidos. E eles acham que isso pode ser possível de uma forma ou de outra, né? Talvez até pelo próprio Senai, que é uma instituição que vai formar pessoas, né? Então, nós estamos conseguindo alcançar o nosso objetivo, que é levar esse profissionalismo para aqueles que não têm. That's it.
Couldn't have said it better.
That's exactly what I meant to say.
He says, I say 3 words and Ronnie says 300. I just like to visualize the things.
That's awesome. Steve, it's an honor to have you on with us here.
Hey, it's my pleasure. You guys keep up the good work. It's very exciting to see what's going on in Brazil.
We've been talking about you and your organization all week. We've been talking about Sinai, and
Right.
all we keep doing, every time that I leave another painter or an institution here, the same feeling is shared by everybody. This can't be it. If this stops here, this is a complete failure.
No, it cannot be it.
Now things
Yeah.
have to happen all the time.
Yeah, that's it.
Yeah.
That's it, Nick. Steve, thank you very much for the opportunity.
Thank you so much, guys. Take care. Keep up the good work.
Say hi to your family, Steve.
I will.
So that's it, Nick.
Enough talking, right?
Wow.
You and I are going to sit in silence the rest of the day
Philip
and
must be
enjoy,
crazy with this. Must be crazy with this.
and enjoy peace and calm.
Mission accomplished. Part 1, stage 1.
Stage
It
one.
is stage 1.
So you will probably see Ronnie in the United States in the near future. If you see this guy, understand what he represents. We're hoping we can get more Brazilian painters in the United States, not because we want to pillage Brazil of their painters, but because I want to give the opportunity for you guys to feel what I felt this week as the cultural exchange. And I understand so much more about myself and my business and you guys because of this. And what do you say? We should stop talking. Just, it's good. It's the best.
Yeah.
This is insane.
There is a question from Rodrigo
Yes.
Evangelista. I think it is important. Rony, menciona a parceria que PDCA quer fazer, traduzindo pagamento para... Ô, Rodrigo, não, na verdade é o seguinte, com a vinda do Nick para cá, o PDCA, que é o sindicato de pintores que eles têm lá, que faz muitos... How long is PDCA in America? How old?
I mean, it could be 100 years, could be 80 years. I mean, it's been there. It's been
At least 80
it's
years.
Very traditional, very traditional. And Steve can comment again if he's still watching. But
Yeah.
it's been there forever.
A gente está falando de uma instituição, de um sindicato, assim podemos dizer, que tem pelo menos 80 anos, viu, Rodrigo? Tá? Então, assim, eles estão evoluindo a todo momento e a parceria que eles querem fazer é levar como eu posso dizer, o processo de ensino-aprendizagem para lá, porque eles não têm escolas, tá? Então a gente está falando de escolas, né? Ele quer levar os processos de ensino-aprendizagem com o caminho que o brasileiro tem para poder fazer as coisas, que aí, por exemplo, envolveria, talvez outra coisa, mas o Senai, né? Porque aí envolve coisas gigantescas, nós estamos falando de milhões, bilhões, sei lá, você está entendendo? Então são coisas completamente diferentes, talvez até da nossa arcada, né? Mas o foco principal agora lá é realmente levar tudo que ele trouxe daqui para lá, certo? E aí, a partir daí, começar alguma conversa sobre os caminhos necessários e possíveis para poder realmente começar um projeto diferente nos Estados Unidos sobre formação profissional em pintura, né? Que é o que a gente está tentando fazer aqui também e que a gente ainda não tem completamente concretizado, né? That's it.
That's it?
That's it.
Okay, this has been us all week.
Oh,
so thank you, everybody. Muito obrigado. Thank you very much. Boa tarde.
Boa tarde.
Good afternoon. And that's it for us, everybody.
Okay,
so
that's for
thank
you
you.
all.
Thank you to the PDCA, Souvenil, Philippe.
Gente, obrigado por tudo.
I mean, come on.
Gente, ó.
Philippe from Souvenil did a perfect job. Gadep, thank
Gadep,
you for being the genesis of all this. Greco, the people at Greco. Go look for my pictures of the people at Greco in Brazil.
It's amazing.
They have a mountain of work to do here. They are evangelists for the industry, for technology, bringing technology to painters. Thank you to them. And Sinai, you are a lighthouse. You're a beacon for the rest of the world.
Pessoal, obrigado por tudo, do fundo do coração. Se esse momento aconteceu, porque um dia eu conheci o Nick através do Ivan, através do Juliano, através do grupo que era Pintor, depois se transformou em grupo Gadep. Muito obrigado pelo pessoal da Graco, pelo pessoal da Souvenir, pelo pessoal especialmente do Senai, que é onde eu trabalho. Obrigado, professor Everson, Daniel, Marcelo, Ediane, todos aqueles que confiaram no meu trabalho, no nosso trabalho. Isso daqui aconteceu por todos vocês e essa é a grande proposta disso daqui, é que realmente isso daqui não pare aqui, que isso seja um divisor de águas. Muito obrigado do fundo do coração, ó. Beijo no coração de vocês, ó. Lindo.
This is not the last time this is going to happen.
Stage 1.
Stage 1. So thank you, everybody. Have a good rest of the weekend. And I am now going to travel 15 hours back to the United States and try to recover, try to digest this, and try to make some changes personally and professionally because of this. So,
look for decent human beings. Procurem por seres humanos decentes.
I love that. I love that. We should get that in writing, and I should put that in my shop.
That's it.
That is my goal in life. So thank you, everybody. Thank you to Brazil.
That's it, Nick.
Muito obrigado.
Yeah, all right.
Goodbye.
That's it.
Ciao, ciao.
Ciao, ciao.